and revenue around the $14 million range. So basically, it will go in front of the Planning Commission. After it leaves the Planning Commission, it'll go in front of Economic Development Committee, be vetted in front of Economic Development Committee, and I'm sure when the committee reports it out, it'll go to council for the approval. This is, I feel, a good use for that facility down there, that property down there. As you know, we've taken a position over these many years of making sure that we get the best we can for the land we have, because once it's gone for 20 to 25 years. So this is one of these facilities that we think will be great for the city. God forbid you'd have to use it, but I think the closest rehab, I might be mistaken, is out at Drake. Part of Drake is run by Health South, which is out of Dallas, Texas. These individuals that are running this now used to be with Health South, and they have branched out and are moving all over. But the facility is going to be first class. Private rooms, an area down towards, at the one end of the building that's it's fenced off and landscaped. If you know somebody there and they want to go out for a walk, or you want to go outside, it will be private. It will be cambered on the outside. It will be totally secure. It's just going to be a nice facility and a great addition to this city. So we're looking forward to seeing that going through the process, which will be, like I said, Planning Commission, public hearing, then the Economic Development Committee, and then move to council and expedite this and get it through, and so they can get started. One other note, there's a new business coming into Rookwood over there. I'd like to say that I know totally what they do. I've been invited over there on the 17th. Basically, it's a business that help retirees move through the hospital insurance and the insurance personal health advisory. So they will be opening the 17th. I don't have a summation of all the Alumni Hall of Fame induction ceremony, but that will be held the 19th, and there's a Colonel Jerry L. Martlett, United States Air Force, retired, class of 1948. Dr. Paul E. Burns, class of 1956. Susan Skinner Schaffner, class of 56. Christopher Hall, class of 1965. And William Robert Lawhorn, class of 1968. Like I said, every year these are held, and we've had from that high school 4-star generals, vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest ranking NCO in the United States Air Force. We've had doctors, we've had authors, we've had scientists, we've had any number of people that have come out of that high school and went on and achieved great success in their field. So that will be held the 19th. Two other items. The University Station tour will be on the 22nd of November from 4:30 to 6:30. If somebody wants to go up and walk through the facility and look around, and that will be held. And then the grand opening will be on the 25th from 5:30 to 7. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a great addition to the city. We feel quite certain, and we have had strong indications that will have a positive effect in that area. There'll be a ripple effect. That's one of the things we've talked about from day one, that it would have a ripple effect in the area. I had a conversation with Chris Brown from the Law Director's office today, and there's trends going on where some people are not like the South Norwood area is kind of high, it's high, and people are moving into different areas, and thankful because the prices for property are a little lower. and they're thankful for it. And I think, as like we'd hope would happen, is when they put those 500 beds, those student housing up there, everybody said, well, they're going to leave the neighborhood. Nobody wanted them in the neighborhoods. Now they're leaving the neighborhoods, and people panic what's going to happen to those properties. Well, I think it's going to, I believe the trend is moving to change all that, where people are going to want to live close to not only that university, also that facility. I think it will be, we know of a certain parcel of property that a letter of intent's been signed, which will be, once again, it will take some time to develop, but it will develop. These, like this here, this is a $15 million investment, but I think most people know and understand that this is a process and it takes a long time, a lot of discussion and a lot of input to bring these things to pass. You can talk about something and it might take 10 or 11 months before it even breaks the surface. So we feel strongly that the trend is moving in that direction. So if you got a chance to be up there, to be around it, do so. I haven't been up there. There's a donut shop up there. It's called Fat Something or Other. I got to try that. It's really supposed to be good donuts and being an ex-cop. Everybody likes donuts. I mean, that's going to be a growing area, and it will spread out, I guarantee you. So if anybody's got any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Questions of the mayor? Excuse me. Mayor, did you say that the Reliant Hospital is going to be on Section Avenue?
Yes.
Where on, like what part of?
Right across from American Laundry. Instead of running, it'll run parallel with the front entrance facing 562. The back of the entrance will be up against Ross.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll move on to other requests to address council. We do have two. The first is Mary Barber. She'll come forward, please, if you'll give us your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes to address council.
Good evening. My name is Mary Barber. I live at 4229 Allison. I've lived in Norwood all my life. I've lived in that house for 41 years. It is a half block from the Allison Elementary School building. I'm off this week on vacation, normally never home during the day. I was out this morning. I came home about 11 o'clock in the morning, got out of my car in my backyard, heard nothing but gunshots, over and over and over. Volleys of gunshots. I'm not talking 22s. I'm not talking little plinker shots. I am talking 9mm, 357s, 38s, whatever. It was loud. You could feel the percussion in your chest. I had seen when I drove by the school that there was a number, quite a few, Hamilton County Sheriff's cars parked along the side street. So I thought, okay, what are they doing down at the school? So I made a few phone calls. Mind you, while I'm on the phone, this volley is continuing for an hour and a half. I quit counting after 30 shots in 20 minutes. I didn't know a thing about this school being used for their training purposes. Nobody did. I called the Norwood Police non-emergency number. I asked what was going on. He didn't know. Put me on hold, gave me to somebody else to talk to, and this person explained to me that they were using it for training in accordance with agreement with Hamilton County and with the school in order for the Hamilton County Sheriffs to have a place to train. Okay. I wanted to know why the public was not informed. I don't like driving into my neighborhood and hearing gunshots. I shouldn't have to be exposed to that unless I'm informed ahead of time that you're going to do something like that. I'm not going to come out of my house to see what's going on. I'm going to call 911. But yet when I called the police, I was given the shuffle. So the next call I made was to the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. I got a little run around there. I said, who's in charge? Finally got a hold of the lieutenant, who was the coordinator with the Norwood Police Department for this program to continue. He told me that they had arranged with the Norwood Police Department, and the Norwood Police Department was completely informed and knew about it, that they would use Allison Street Elementary for training. And this would happen every Tuesday from sometime, excuse me, it started in August to the end of November. I just happened to be home on a Tuesday. He said, well, this was the first complaint they got. I said, well, because it's the first Tuesday I've been home. A lot of people don't want to get involved. They don't know who to call. They may not hear it because they're in their house closed up. But if you walk out of your house and you hear a volley of gunshots down the street, what are you going to do? It was so loud. Once I figured out what was going on, then I wanted to get to the bottom of why we weren't informed. I asked why the public was not informed. Norwood told me that was supposed to be Hamilton County's thing. Hamilton County said they don't have to tell us. They said it's considered practice. Why, we have a gun range elsewhere, and those people there aren't bothered when we fire our guns. I said, yeah, because they know they live by a gun range. I live by an elementary school that used to be used, not a gun range. I don't expect to hear a volley of gunshots in my neighborhood. There is no reason why the public could not be informed. I called the mayor's office. He called me back. He said he didn't know about it. Now, surely somewhere, somebody dropped the ball on communicating this to the public, that this use was going to go on with the building. Why they're doing it in this building, I don't know. I didn't ask. I just wanted to know why we were not informed. There are a lot of people in that neighborhood. You're right in the middle of residence. Nothing but residential area there. You have a public library half block away. You have a post office a block away. You have small mom and pop stores. You have kids playing out in their yards. What would you think if it was in your neighborhood? You pull in your driveway and you're hearing a volley of gunshots the next block over, and you don't know what's going on. You gonna feel safe? I didn't feel safe. I was really upset that this was happening, thinking, well, what are these other people that can't see those cars thinking? What about kids out playing in their yard and their mom or dad hears a bunch of gunshots? What are they supposed to think? We're living in the city of Norwood. We're supposed to feel safe. I asked them why they couldn't inform us in one way or another. Hamilton County said, what do you want us to do, go door to door? I said, yes. I said, you've never heard of postcards? You go door to door? I said, there's a person that goes door to door all the time called the mailman. Why couldn't they have put out a simple postcard to let us know this training was going to go on? Hang flyers, put notes up on a sign up on the fence, announce it like they do when they do training over at the airport. Make a public announcement to the television station so it gets out to the public. This is what's going on. In case you hear this, don't be alarmed. It's only training. I didn't get an answer from anybody. I called the superintendent of schools. He said that it was Hamilton County's, it was their responsibility. He apologized. He said, well, that doesn't do me any good today. He said, well, it was their responsibility to inform people. And I said, not according to them. So there is somewhere a very serious lack of communication. However this was organized, whyever this was set up, whenever this was set up, however long it took to set it up, somebody forgot the most important thing. You're in my neighborhood. That is my school. That is my street. And why is Hamilton County coming in and training in Norwood? Because if we have a problem, they're not going to be in our schools with their SWAT teams. It's going to be our Norwood police. Why are we doing Hamilton County training in one of our unused grade schools in a residential neighborhood without informing the residents? You want it in yours? I don't want it in mine. Would you like to get out of your car, be at the library, be at the little convenience store, and hear gunshots going off down the street? what would you do? Think about it. Could have been your kids out playing in the yard. I just wanted to address council and let them know, because I have a feeling a lot of you were not aware this was going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barber. Next is Margaret Waymeyer regarding the use of the Allison Street School as well. Again, you'll have 5 minutes to address council.
Be repetitious.
Hold the mic.
It'd be repetitious for me to say anything, because this is one of the first Tuesdays I've been home. I spend my Tuesdays out at a nursing home, taking care of a niece of mine. So I was late going today, and I heard that. It scared me, because I'm not used to hearing that in my neighborhood, not on my street. Now I know, I've been reading a lot about heroin and all this other stuff, and I thought, my gosh, and I had somebody run through my yard because we had the SWAT team in the back, and so, yes, and I live in a big house by myself. Okay, I know this is West Norwood. But, as Mary said, I called her because she happened to be home. Now, we have 2 women. Don't forget, we were the ones that started up to have the substation for the police. We fought for that, put 2 of us together, and you got a volcano. So I guess you got a volcano now. But we'd like to know what's going on in our little city, our little city we call West Norwood, because we got the older people, and we don't have, our school was taken away from us. Why are they using the school now? That school has been standing there with nothing done to it, but it refuses to go down. And I went to a school board meeting just last week, asking to please take care of that by putting some shades up at the windows and making it look decent, so it would make it look good for our part of Norwood, our street. And then when I see this, and I was going on my way to the nursing home. Mary was calling. I stopped there because there were a bunch of them standing out in front. And when I stopped my car there, one of them came up to me by the fence. And I said to him, what in the world are you doing? And he was the one that explained to me, they're training there. I said, for what? Well, that's the way they have to have a training place, so they'd go. And I said, with all this noise and this, well, we're not using real bullets. This is just, I said, careful, I didn't know you're not using real bullets. That's for sure. Secondly, the noise in this old building, so what are you trying to do with the building and that? Oh, well, no, and then he says to me, well, this is such a great building. It's so stable outside, it's great. And he's telling me how great Allison building is. The only thing is, needs a little bit done inside. When my school board is telling me that we got to tear this one down, and he's telling me how great it is. Well, he was just trying to put me on another way, and I said to him, look, I don't like it here. Who's doing this? He told me it was the school board. I said, well, I don't think the school board can do it by itself, because I sure couldn't be doing that in my house with all that noise. He said, oh, yes, you could. I said, no, I couldn't. If I had all that noise coming out of my house while I'm doing this, even though it's not actually guns, I'd have the police down here, PDQ, telling me, stop it. So it's very, very disturbing to me when the school board is using Allison, which they've pushed out of the school system really 10 years ago, but they're using that once again to support. I said, are you getting paid for this? He didn't know. I said, well, I never could understand why you're here. This is Norwood. I mean, my police, you know, we're not training Milo to see my police. I don't know about my schools. If something came, if a guy came to my school, what are my police? I don't know about that. But I have them. It's very, very disturbing. We have to realize that we are a small city. And there's nothing wrong with being a small city of 11,000 people. It's good because of the fact that we do have neighbors that look out for neighbors. I have neighbors call me, they won't call, they won't do anything, they don't want to be not liked. I said, okay, I'll go again. I'm not liked anyway, so I mean, if that's what you have to do to be liked, I don't want to be liked by that kind of person that just does what they think you should do. But please, we have to know. Now, if the school board is doing this, I went to the school board, as I said last week. I wanted to, of course, I went on Common Care, it's really the thing, because it was kid care and it goes on to going to the top, and it's all about money.
Can we wrap it up?
Okay.
Time's almost
I will.
past
But
due,
the
but
thing
that's
is,
okay.
Mary told you the whole thing about it. All I say is to her, I'm coming and backing her and supporting it, because it was so great for me to have somebody else come and say something that I can say that I support, because it's awful lonely to be the only one. And so I think we better know what's happening in our city. I mean, the people deserve that.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Weimer. We'll move on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Mr. Sanker?
Yes, Madam President, just so everybody's aware, the traffic lights on the corner of Elm and Section are now complete and are not flashing any longer, or stop signs down there. So just people be aware that they can make sure they pay attention to the light at that corner. That has been repaired and is functioning correctly now. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other unfinished business? Mr. Sanker?
Yes, Madam President, the mayor failed to mention during his talk that last weekend, the urology group had their annual 5 and 10K walk run, which he spoke eloquently there, welcoming people to the city of Norwood. This was very well attended, to a point where the boulevard over there was nothing but wall-to-wall people from Montgomery Road onto the bridge on Section. And I give kudos to Public Works and the police, and actually the sheriffs a little bit, because they were helping direct traffic on some of the corners. But anyway, the streets look good, the city looked good, and when you have 100 plus people there walking through and seeing the city firsthand, and not just driving by, it made a good, not only good, but a great impression. Afterwards, they had a number of folks hanging around afterwards. They had many booths there, informative, and so it was well attended. It was a nice jewel for the city that they do that, and hopefully they'll continue to do that for many years to come.
Did you run again this year?
Kind of did mostly walk.
Good for you.
So, but it was a good deal, so thanks.
Good, congratulations. Mr. Thornberry?
On a related note, and I say all of this purely in jest, if next year we can get them to move the starting line about 15 feet, the turnaround point for the 5 or 10K was directly in front of my house, which meant at a certain point, a gentleman was sitting there with a megaphone going, 5K, turn around, 10K, straight ahead, for a good half hour or 45 minutes while I was trying to sleep in. But it was a great event, and it really did showcase. They set up on the street, and the next thing we looked around, they'd completely cleaned it up and did a great job. It was a good effort.
Good. Thank you. Mr. Clark?
Just on a similar note, a couple of my neighbors were wondering if the route is produced ahead of time. My wife had a doctor's appointment. We were unable to get off our street. Our entire street was taken up by the run. I do support it. I think it's a great cause, but I just didn't know. We weren't aware that it was going to be right down our street, and so I got a couple complaints from my neighbors not able to get off their street, so I didn't know. I wasn't aware that the route would be right down our street, and I may have missed it. I don't know, so I just didn't know. Maybe the mayor knew. Did they produce that ahead of time, or?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, it's produced, but it's like any of these other events. This thing has grown so much that as it grows, you find different problems, and the police department heard about it. I heard about it. I did the noble thing. Woman was complaining to me, and she said, "It's that urology group. I'm going to write them a letter." I said, "You write them a letter. It's me getting one." But I think they're very responsive for it. Like Mr. Sanker said, it is great for the city. You just have to walk that fine line where you don't inconvenience your residents while showcasing your city. So we'll talk about it ahead of time next year and when we get into planning. But like I said, anytime you have these events and they grow, you run into different problems, and that's how you address them. So we'll take care of it.
Mr. Clark?
Yeah, thank you so much, and I do appreciate the police were outstanding. We waited for a window and backed all the way down the street, so we were able to finally get off. But I just appreciate the police. They were very helpful directing people and helping us find an alternate route, so that was helpful.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Mr. Sanker?
Just follow up, like the mayor said, honestly, I do think all we need to do is communicate to them, which we will, that if we had the route in advance, we can announce it or even put it on, the website and on the cable to make people aware. And I'm sure they would do that in a heartbeat for us. So, yeah, but it's good to know.
Yeah,
I did kind of think of some folks
Yeah.
that were kind of waiting.
Is there any other unfinished business? Any new business? Mr. Sanker?
Madam President, I would like to have a letter drafted on behalf of at least myself, and then I don't know about the rest of the city council, and sent to, I don't know who the lieutenant was in the sheriff's department, that Mary that you spoke with, if you have a name for the Hamilton County Sheriffs, the police department, and also the school superintendent, asking them if they could inform us of when they're going to have this type of live training, even though the ammunition was not live, the munitions were live, and that way we can at least announce it at some point in time in advance, or get some type of notice. Not that we should be the ones making the notice, but we should be aware, because when people call or ask what's going on there, it would be good that we know to be able to have a firm answer. So I'd like to have a letter sent, at least on my behalf. I don't know about the rest of the council.
Mr. Mumper?
I second that. I think somebody needs to do something about this. It would be disastrous if it happened anywhere in Norwood.
Agree. Mr. Thornburg?
Yeah, I would ask the councilperson to consider amending that verbiage to, at this time, ask them to cease the operations until there has been a discussion on either on council or in some public forum whereby we can figure out how to, I'm sure the people in your neighborhood, I'm certain you didn't go to door and knock on everybody's door and say, hey, don't worry about it, we got a war going on in our neighborhood. I think until we can come up with some mechanism, or the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department or the Norwood Police Department can come up with some sort of mechanism to make this better known, I would request that the operations not be held until that time, as we can have some satisfaction on that.
Mr. Sanker?
Madam President, I mean, if we could amend, but the only thing is, I don't know that we have the authority to tell them what goes on into that building. I just think that the public needs to be aware. And I would say that we could amend to suggest to them that they cease until they can inform the people and let us know. I don't know that we can demand they do that, because I don't know that that's within our realm of authority.
We have no legal standing in that regard.
Without an objection from council, if it's okay, the mayor and I had a conversation about this before, prior to council, and he may have some information.
That's fine.
Information, is that Mr. Mayor?
I sent a letter if you like. When I got the message off my machine and Mary was going through the roof, I called her back right away, and I thought, I had no knowledge of it, which really irritated me. So I contacted the chief. He didn't have any knowledge of it. So I don't know who these guys are telling me. So I said to the chief, you want me to call the sheriff? Are you going to call the sheriff and I'll call the superintendent? He said, I'll call the sheriff and I'll call the superintendent. And I called Rob and I told him, this is ridiculous. And he said, well, they're doing this training. I said, it don't make a difference. I don't care. I don't care. This is borderline. No. This is ridiculous. We'll put it that way. When you do this, in this day and age, when you hear gunfire and you see cruisers, I don't care if that school's occupied or not. Some people may be driving by there, may not know that school don't have any children in it. It's ridiculous. I told him quite simply, if they want to play, go out in the county and do it. But I know I've participated in training like this years ago. We didn't do it in the middle of the city. We went out. And if they can't find a building out in that county somewhere, out in the boonies, that's fine. I know they want to train the classrooms, and I totally understand that. And we work joint operations with that county. The idea is to work together. I don't know who thought this thing up or whose idea it was, but it's stupid. And I think most people realize it after the fact. So I'll be talking to the chief, and I guarantee you, we're not going to do this again. This is not going to happen again. I don't care how we get them notified or how we do it. You can't create a panic like that. Like Mary said, they have these drills over there at the airport where they put black smoke in the air and they notify everybody so that everybody doesn't panic. But I don't know what this individual was thinking. I don't know whose idea it was, but it was stupid. Especially in a school, if it's abandoned or not, in a neighborhood when you don't know, you could very well, I would guess now, I don't want to say for sure, I'm sure that probably in some of those houses down there you'll find guns. And you hear gunshots like that, people come out, you don't know what's going to happen. So Mr. Amodio was very responsive. I haven't had a talk with the chief today to find out how responsive the sheriff was, but Mr. Amodio was very responsive, and I'm sure after he talked to me, he talked to Mary, which I don't think his day went well, but I was so irritated by this because I've had experience in this area, and you don't do this in the middle of the city without telling people, especially when you want to go out and fire blanks like that and fire, high caliber weapons with blanks or not, and nobody knows. So you want to write the letter, but I think it'd probably be good for you to write that letter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Sanker?
Madam President, I would like to have the letter drafted and with a suggestion of ceasing the operations, so that they are aware that council is aware of what's going on and that there is concern, rightfully so, and we would like.
Is that a motion?
Yes. I mean, I really don't need it, and it's new business, but if
Let's
we
get
all
it on
want to
the
be.
record.
Yes. So,
Is there a
yeah, I'll make a
second to that?
motion to.
Mr. Mumper. So the motion on the floor then is to write a letter to the Hamilton County Sheriffs, the Norwood Police Department, and to the Norwood Superintendent regarding the incident that took place, and suggest that the operation cease until further notice and dialogue can take place.
May I
Is that
ask
essentially your motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, Mayor?
Can I ask a question? I just want to be very clear so I don't make a mistake. So when I write the letter, I'll ask them for all background information
concerning the event, including scheduling, and suggested it be, I mean, do you want the background information surrounding the program as well, or do you just want me to send a letter asking that they inform everyone and consider?
Mr. Sanker?
Yes, Madam President, I don't know that we need the background information necessarily. I just think that we need to tell them that City Council was not aware of a training operation that was going in within one of our neighborhoods within the city of Norwood. Very concerning to the residents and the City Council, and that City Council was not aware of this operation or informed of the operation by anyone, either the Sheriff's Department, the schools, or the Police Department, and would suggest that they cease these operations until, number one, we're informed, or if they continue or they have any other types of operation that they inform us, so that we can at least make an attempt to inform the residents, and they should inform the residents also. Is that what you're thinking? Yep. So, put something on that line there. Thank you.
Is there any other comments? Yes, Mr.
I just
Silver.
wanted to personally, on behalf of council, thank Ms. Barber and Ms. Waymire for quick action, decisive action, and I mean, having done your homework and not just hearing it and coming up and complaining, but making your phone calls. That's a model for everyone who's got a complaint in this environment.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Braden?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Whittington?
Yes.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Thornberry?
Yes.
Mr. Sanker?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mumford?
Yes.
All members present voting aye, the motion carries. Is there any other new business? Mr. Sanker?
Yes, Madam President, just an announcement that I know the sign's hanging out in front of City Hall here, but the citywide yard sale is coming up September the 12th and 13th, and it looks like the weather hopefully will cooperate. It's going to be a nice cool day, so you can get out and do plenty of shopping, but I did want to make everybody aware that that's coming up this weekend. Thank you.
Mr. Thornberry?
Yes, Madam President. I just wanted to announce we will be having a Community Development Committee meeting on its next sort of regularly scheduled date on October 6th at 6 p.m. here in Council Chambers. Right now, we have on the agenda this Reliant development, which will presumably have been through the other entities that have to look at it. And then Jeannie Sickinger from the Burwood Park Garden Development has asked to speak and present an update on what's going on with the park, but that will be at 6 o'clock, October 6th, the Community Development meeting here in Council Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Thornberry. Any other new business? Mr. Sanker?
Yes, Madam President. I just let everybody know, I had a phone call from a lady who was having a birthday party on Upper Millcrest Park, and the bathrooms were locked. And checking into it, the reason they were is because they have been vandalized. And on the upper one, the lower ones were open and available. So if anybody has any idea who the people were that vandalized the park restrooms at Millcrest Park, you can let us know. You can be anonymous, and but we would like to catch up with the folks who are vandalizing our property, but just so you're aware of why they were locked. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanker. Any other new business? Mr. Sanker?
Madam President, I know I should have brought this up before we even got started, but I just wanted to bring everybody within the city's attention that we did lose another member of the City of Norwood's community, Mary Ann Teeter, who spent many, many years in the treasurer's office and retired about a year and a half ago, I believe. Passed away, I believe, Monday morning. So on behalf of Mary Ann's family, I wish her the condolences of myself and the city's family. And if we could just take just a moment of silence on Mary Ann Teeter's behalf.
Can we please do that right now? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sanker. Any other new business? We'll move on to communications. First is a letter from the building commissioner regarding zone changes.
To City Council, from Jerry Stoker, Building Commissioner, September 8, 2014, RE zone changes. On September 3, 2014, the Planning Commission vote unanimously to recommend to City Council the following zone changes for the properties noted below. 1. Rezone property 651-0044-0004, 651-0044-0006, 651-0044-0007, 651-0044-0011, 651-0044-0023, 651-044-0005, 651-0044-0010, 651-0046-0016, 651-0046-0017, 651-0045-0069, 651-0045-0070, 651-0045-0071, 651-0045-0072, and 651-0045-0073 from light manufacturing M1 and heavy manufacturing district M2 to O office district with a planned unit development overlay O/POD. 2. Rezone 4335 Smith Road from 1 and 2 family residence R2 to O office zoning district. The Planning Commission then voted unanimously to recommend denial of a zone change for the properties noted below. 651-0047-0057 and 651-0047-0056 from NBD Neighborhood Business District and R2 1 and 2 family residence to GBD General Business District. Please set the appropriate public hearing to review and act on the Planning Commission's recommendations. If you have any questions concerning the above, please do not hesitate to contact me.
Glad you didn't have to read that 3 times. Yet.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yet. Mr. Clark.
I move to receive and file the letter and set a public hearing for a date that we deem appropriate.
So we have to give a 30-day notice, and I'm suggesting perhaps October the 28th. Will that give you sufficient time?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So we'll set the public hearing date for October the 28th, if that's in accordance with your motion.
That'd be great, thanks.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Thornberry. Is there any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Braden?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Whittington?
Yes.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Thornberry?
Yes.
Mr. Sanker?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mumper?
Yes.
All members present voting aye, the motion carries. We have no absent members. Mr. Thornberry.
Yes, Madam President, I move we adjourn.
Seconded by Mr. Clark. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Braden?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Whittington?
Yes.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Thornberry?
Yes.
Mr. Sanker?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mumper?
Yes.
All members present voting aye, the motion carries. This meeting is hereby adjourned.